and welcome to Buzz TV. I'm your host, Adrienne Houghton, and we have got an exciting show for you today. There's everything from restaurants and charities and galleries and something for everyone, really family favorites. So watch this space and find out more on Buzz TV. Greetings and welcome to the Jacksonville Buzz. My name is Adrienne Houghton and I'm your host today. I have an interesting guest. He is Justin Bordeaux from the Savvy Agency, and let's find out a little bit more about him. Welcome, Justin.
Thank you. It's good to be here.
So first of all, let me find out about you. Who's Justin?
Who is Justin? I ask myself that question all the time. I'm just a passionate person. I just love what I do. You know, a lot of what I've done just comes from one question: who do I want to be today?
Oh.
Not what do I want to do, because we all have a laundry list of stuff we need to do, but who do I want to be? And so, yeah.
So Justin is actually a brand strategist.
Yes, correct.
And you originally started off as a graphic designer, and it built from there.
Yeah, I started out as a graphic designer in school down in South Florida, and then from there I started my first creative agency, started doing design work, and then teamed up with a woman who had a magazine. And so we took her magazine from just this beginning small digital platform to full print, 300% growth in a few months. And so that's where I started looking at business and branding and strategy there. And then from there, I started a video game company. And then, yeah, it just kept going from there. Just got phone calls. One day, I got a phone call to go to California. It says, hey, I need you in California. I said, put my car in a shipping container tonight. I'm there tomorrow. And then I was gone.
And that was it.
Yeah.
What brought you back to Jacksonville?
Well, I kind of grew up here. So I went to high school here, and then I just decided to leave one morning. I was like, a week after graduation, I was like, I'm gone. It's time for me to go. It's time for me to explore new things. And so for me, after being in the industry for so long, I was kind of in that place where I just wanted to take a break. Yeah. And I was like, let me just go home. Let me go home. And I came here, and then I met Erin Gordon from the Savvy Agency and worked with her for 3.5 years on top of my own clients. And it's just, yeah, it's just been just one thing, and just following. One of the guys here said the word serendipitous, and I love that word because sometimes those best moments come from just the moments you never expect. Yeah.
What do you think it is about brand strategy that excites you?
Well, brand strategy for me is, in branding, everything comes down to one word: experience. What kind of experience can we give people? Because branding is just, it's not about the logo. It's not about all these things that we think about. You know, one reason I love fashion for this is that it's an expression. Everything we have, piece of clothing we have is an expression of our own identity. And a brand is this moving organism, this thing that is created to give the customer an experience, the culture an experience. We all want the best experience. And so for me, that's the most complicated, fun thing to ever try to curate. What kind of experience can we create?
How long do you spend with your clients before something clicks?
Oh, that depends. It really does, because in the beginning, you really have to try to understand everybody, because it's like going on a date. You know, I look at this a lot of times like relationships, is that you might not know until that moment that you know that that's the person. You know, so you can go on those dates, you get to know them, you get to know your client, you get to understand them a little bit more, because what might really be driving the business is something the client doesn't even know yet. So you have to find out, not just asking questions, but asking the right questions. So it could take anywhere from 30 days up to 6 months, just depending on how committed the client is to their own success.
Do you specialize in any particular businesses?
No, I don't have a particular business, because at the very root and foundation of everything that is behind a brand, you have core fundamental questions.
Right.
And usually those become personal questions. You know, why does the company exist in the first place? And so everybody, if we follow just a formula of branding, no matter which direction we go in, we all have a foundation we have to follow.
Have you ever had a company that has been a real challenge for you?
Yes, definitely. There's plenty of them. There's plenty of them out there. And usually those situations is that it's it is the inability or the unwant to actually just trust people with your business, because for some of us, businesses, it's our livelihood, it's our baby. And so trusting someone else with something that you've put your heart and soul into and you've romanticized can be difficult to kind of just let someone. It's this idea of control and trust. And so if they don't trust you, then you're not going to get the job done. Yeah, if they don't trust you with their baby, it's like giving the keys to your car to somebody. You have to trust the person that's doing the work. I'm not going to tell a roofer how to roof my house. No. I'm not going to do it. So I need that same kind of relationship and trust system with a client too. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't.
If there's somebody out there and thinks, maybe I need to pull together some bits and pieces and my company really needs this, are there sort of 5 questions that they should have in their pocket ready for you if they contact you?
Yeah, I think that the biggest thing is knowing more about themselves and their business. Okay. It's not, my thing is when I look at a CEO of a company, I look at them as more of I've heard this before, chief innovation officer. Where do they want to take the company? Where are they at right now? Are they enjoying what they're doing? Right. Because if you're not enjoying your business, then what's the point? You need to enjoy it. And you also have to kind of have an idea of what your exit strategy might be. So there's a lot of business questions along with branding questions. Because the brand, like I said, is, do you understand your culture? Right. What's your culture look like? So if someone wants to get hold of you, where do they find you? They can find me on my website at justincbordeaux.com. That's the easiest way to find me. Or they could even just Google my name on LinkedIn. That's going to be the best ways. Justin, It was a pleasure talking to you. Pleasure's mine. Thank you. And don't forget, if you'd like to know any more information, you can always go to iwantabuzz.com.
Welcome back to Making a Difference. I'm Steve Strum. This morning we have Teddy Colgate and Francis Len-Loving from 5-Star Veterans Center. Good morning, gentlemen.
Good morning.
I should say Major and Colonel, or Colonel and Major. You have to say Colonel first, Major second. Deal with it, sir.
That's it.
Thanks for joining us this morning. We had a very unique opportunity that I had been given to come visit your facility, and we met at a charity event giving away suits to veterans. And you guys give away much more than suits to veterans. Tell us a little bit about 5-Star.
Well, 5-Star is an organization that is designed to assist veterans in crisis and sometimes homeless veterans in crisis, and to give them an opportunity to get back into independent living through a coordinated program based upon, we call it Passport to Independence, and it's based upon their progress. And we have an in-house counseling program that helps them by starting out when they first arrive at the center and apply. Then they go through a counseling to see if we have the skill sets to be able to help them to get within that year to year and a half back on their feet, financially stabilized with a job and or with in school through the VA funding.
So when veterans come back, and I come from a military family, from a deployment, sometimes they come back okay, sometimes they come back with scars you can see, and sometimes they come back with scars you cannot see. Your facility helps those that come back that are struggling to reintegrate into society after serving our country in a military fashion, back to society to where they can be a productive member as a civilian.
Correct.
How did you guys get started in this? Like, what was the inspiration behind all of this?
Well, I think the inspiration that started 5-Star was just what you said. When they come back from combat, many of them don't realize it for a year, 2, 3, that they have post-traumatic stress or, even worse, traumatic brain injury. And that was the purpose of why 5-Star got its beginning. Its organization was to help understand these individual veterans, to understand what their problems were, and then give them a means to live with those problems.
Teddy, I understand that you have a pretty interesting role in the 5-Star, in the process. Both of you all do. Administrator, run the ship, XO, if we were to talk about it like that.
Pretty much.
And so one of the things that we had talked about was some of the roles that you play in the uniqueness of these veterans that have come to your facility, because not every situation is the same situation. How do you approach people who really served our country as real American heroes, men and women, but yet are struggling to come back to society and not quite understanding the pathway?
Well, the first thing we try to do is rebuild that individual. So every instance is an individual program. We have a counseling team that's phenomenal where they work with that individual to build their goals and then track their progress. We throw all these resources at them, but everything is individually based. So it's almost like self-paced classes. If you can take one individual and you can make them earn that win, then they build momentum and they empower themselves. And that's what we try to do. We try to empower those veterans struggling, at that lowest point, and we try to empower them to take control of their life again.
So this is not just a facility to say, hey, you guys came back and you can't get back on the horse, so to speak. Stay here for as long as you want. It's, hey, come on in. Let's get you up and running to transition from the battlefield to the boardroom and get you into society so that you can be productive.
This is a hand-up program. So, there's lots of resources out there for veterans, and we're super thankful for that. And we have access to all the higher level cares and things like that. However, our focus is the hand-up, where sometimes an individual just needs a pause in their own life. And whether it's a spiral in the wrong direction or a spiral straight down. So we try to provide that, hand, and you just reach up and you grab that individual and you say, you know what, you're not alone. We are here with you, and we're going to stay with you until you have all those reconnections, reintegrations, and things like that to take control of your own life.
If people want to find out more about your facility, whether it's from a donor standpoint or a gentleman or a young lady who are coming back that need help, what's the best way to connect?
Our social media is all the same. You can find us at the numeral 5 SVC, so 5-Star Veteran Center, and that's across the board. So it's Facebook, Instagram, the internet, or our website is 5starveteranscenter.org.
Well, I appreciate you guys coming. Thank you so much for allowing me to participate in the suit event. That was, a very interesting way for this conversation to happen. Of course, I would be remiss if I didn't thank both of you gentlemen for your service to our great country. Coming from a military family, I do know what that means. So, Colonel, Major, thanks for joining us today.
Thank you for having us.
Guys, thanks so much for joining us on Making a Difference. If you like us, share us, and remember, live with gratitude.
Sorry to interrupt your show. I'm Steve Strum from Buzz TV. Today we have Troy Farcrock from Integrity Law.
Thanks, Steve.
Tell us about your firm.
Yeah, so Integrity Law is a full-service law firm. We do mostly family law, but we also practice in estate planning, personal injury, probate, real estate matters. So look us up, www.integritylawjacks.com.
Thanks for joining us. And you guys can have your show back.
Greetings and welcome to Caring for Seniors. I am your host, Adrienne Houghton. Each week, I sit down with Dave Stieglitz, who's the president of Oasis Senior Advisors Jacksonville, and we discuss all aspects of senior living, from financial planning through to housing and everything in between. Today, we're delighted to welcome Chris Wilson from Modified Independence Evaluations. And what is that, you say? Well, we're just about to find out. Welcome, Chris.
Good morning. How are you today?
Good morning, David.
Good morning. Good morning, Chris.
So, first of all, what is Modified Independence Evaluations?
So, I'm an occupational therapist, and one of the ways that we measure the abilities of our patients is on a scale. And modified independence means we're just one level below completely independent. Like you or I or Dave, we're completely independent with doing the things that we do every day to take care of ourselves, like dressing, showering, feeding, things like that.
Right.
So modified independence means that there's one little change, maybe like the use of a shower chair, or maybe using a walker or a cane or something like that. So there's just one modification that still allows somebody to be independent in what they do to take care of themselves every day. And I chose that as the name of my company because that's what I do.
That's what you do.
Yes.
And how did you get started in all of this?
So I've been an occupational therapist for in home healthcare for over 10 years. I've left treating patients, and now I've started this business where I do consulting. My patients are now my clients. Right. And I got started because I realized that there's not a lot of people in the area. Actually, I think there's 3 of us. I'm the second occupational therapist who does this consulting in the home on a private pay basis with clients to modify their homes and make them safer so that they can continue to live independently in their homes.
What we've learned is as our health and our abilities decline, our home can become our biggest enemy.
Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely.
So do you also go into the assisted living homes as well, or it's not as necessary there because there's people watching and caring?
They have their own modifications, and they have their own ways of modifying, usually under their licenses. So I am private pay for clients in their homes. Right. Or in 55 plus communities that do not have contracts in order to upgrade the homes. Meaning if somebody comes home with say a knee replacement and they need a shower chair, there are some communities that will provide the shower chair. Mm-hmm. There are other communities that you buy into and you would bring somebody like me in as a consultant, and I would recommend the correct piece of equipment.
Now you mentioned shower because that's obviously one of the most common. What's another?
So I do everything from ramps, doorway widening, relocating. If you widen a doorway, a lot of times you realize the switch is right here as soon as you walk through the door. So then that means that the electrical needs to be relocated. For people in wheelchairs, maybe they can't reach the 42-inch high switch, so the switch needs to be lowered. I can even go into the kitchen and do modifications in the kitchen if somebody's wheelchair bound. We can do modifications to bring the stove and the stove and the microwave down, lower the sink, things like that. And I've even considered dabbling a little bit in doing pool modifications. A lot of people have pools in their homes, and people are starting to realize the benefit of actual hydrotherapy. Right. So we can do modifications to pools, and then they can use their pools as well.
Now, you're an occupational therapist,
yes,
and so you go in and you assess the situation for the problem that's...
Exactly.
But do you also then arrange the contractors and...
So because I am licensed in the state of Florida, I am not allowed to cross the barrier of doing that. So what I do is I provide the clients with at least 3 options for contractors who would say put in grab bars, redo the bathroom, redo the kitchen, redo the pool. I provide them with the resources, and then they're able to make the decision on their own based on bidding and everything like that.
So you provide them with the proper master plan.
Exactly.
This is like almost like the architect. This is what needs to happen at the house. Here are some people that can do it, and then they can put that out to bid.
And unlike a contractor, not saying anything bad about contractors, but contractors don't know how to assess a situation based on the client's actual medical situation.
Right.
They just know, they want me to put in a grab bar. They don't realize that eventually, that client could end up needing the grab bar to be lower. So we want to put it in a different spot. My goal is to go into the home one time. Say somebody's diagnosed with Lou Gehrig's disease. We know that that's a ALS. Yes. That's a disease where people get progressively worse. Well, they already have enough problems to deal with. I don't want to have to go back out to the home multiple times to make multiple modifications. I know clinically where they're going to end up and what their caregivers are going to need. So my goal is to go in that one time, do the one modification, and that way they can just successfully continue to fight the disease and live their lives without all the extra stuff going on.
When do you get the referral?
My hope is to get the referral while the clients are actually in the hospital or the acute rehab or the skilled nursing facility, because I want to get out there during the critical 48 to 96 hours before we know that they're ready for discharge. Right. I can make the recommendations. Now we have Amazon, and they can order the shower chair on Amazon, have it delivered the next day. And then what happens is a home health agency would send out their therapist to do the home evaluation, and they can say, oh, you already have the shower chair. And then they can help them set up the shower chair, and they can get right on the road, because they usually only get about 2 or 3 weeks of therapy before they get discharged to go to outpatient therapy. So my goal is to get in there and get that equipment for them as quickly as possible.
What if it means that there's something larger that needs doing, a ramp needs building, and they're not going to be able to go home until that ramp's there, for instance?
Of course.
What happens then? Do they have to stay in rehab, or?
A lot of times if they're in acute rehab, they'll actually get transitioned to a lower level of care, like a skilled nursing facility, while they're waiting for that ramp to be built. Oh, right. There are ways to get somebody up several steps. I mean, if you're in a second floor apartment, that's a little bit more difficult. Yeah. But you can actually take a wheelchair up several steps if you have to get them into the home.
Who has to take it up several steps?
That's the family member
carer.
Or whoever. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Golly.
So if we are waiting for a ramp, then obviously time is of the essence in a case like that, because we have to have a safe egress for the client. If something bad were to happen in the home, you have to be able to get them out safely.
Yeah. I mean, it's quite something. You just don't think about it, do you?
Well, I think about it.
Well, you do.
And
yes.
that's my goal. Like you asked, when do I get the referral? Well, to be honest with you, there's a saying, poor planning on your part, right? So the thing is if you know that we're all getting older every day, and you know that you have a medical diagnosis, or you have a pending surgery like a hip or a knee replacement or something like that, why not put those things into motion and make a plan and take care of it now? Because just having a knee replaced, if you don't have a shower chair, or you don't have grab bars, or you don't have those safety things in place, now if you fall in the tub and you hit your head, now you got a knee injury and a head injury.
Yes.
And you're just compounding your problem. So if you make a plan, we all plan, we have savings for when we retire and things like that. We have 401ks, but we don't have a 401k per se for home safety. And that's really where, like Dave was saying, that your home almost can become a liability to you as you become older, especially if you don't have a plan.
The sad thing about this is that some of these grab bars and shower chairs and things like that, they're not very attractive, are they?
No, they're not the prettiest thing, but they serve a function.
They do serve a function, but there should be somewhere out there that's doing nice contemporary looking functional equipment.
If somebody is looking for...
Yeah, pimp my grab bar.
Yeah.
There are other more beautiful options. If I have a client who's looking for a more high-end modification, then there are other options.
Oh, there are.
There are companies that make them in bronze, and they have etching on them, and you can get all kinds of stuff. You can get shower chairs, just a regular plastic shower chair, all the way up to something that, looks a lot prettier, has a lot more functions to it and everything like that. It just depends on the price point. My goal, though, is, if somebody comes in and puts in standard 3 grab bars in a tub, a grab bar is about $25 per foot. Right. So if you put in 3 grab bars, you're looking at about 8 feet of grab bars. So that's already $200. Then you have to get a contractor in there. They're going to charge you for your time. Well, if you hire me to go in and do the modification in the home, I recommend maybe just 1 grab bar. And then I save you the money, because then you're paying me for my professional opinion on where that 1 grab bar should go. We only have 2 hands. I never understood why you need 3 grab bars in a shower.
Depending on which way you're turning.
Yeah, but again, you shouldn't be doing ballet in your tub.
Not if you've just had a hip replacement or a knee replacement.
Yeah, you want to limit the number of times that you turn around.
Oh my goodness. So what is your best referral source?
My best referral source, because I'm a planner. My wife will tell you that. I like a plan. My best referral source would be either somebody who knows that they're having a disease process that they're going to have to fight for a long time, right. Or they're having a planned surgery, right? We plan for surgeries. Why don't we plan for the safety? But ultimately, my best referral source is probably going to come from skilled nursing facilities and acute rehab facilities, because those patients, we know they've had like a traumatic brain injury from a motor vehicle accident or a fall or anything like that, a spinal cord injury. Those are going to probably give me more referrals over the lifetime. But if everybody knows what I do, then they're more likely to understand. Like I said, everybody has a 401k because it's become part of the vernacular that we use. Unfortunately, home safety and home safety consulting is not something that's readily available around town. I think there's only 3 or 4 of us around here that actually do it.
You almost need to be on a list with all the doctors, so that when the doctors know that they're sending somebody to have an operation, that they also contact you.
Unfortunately, most insurances don't pay for what I do, so I do stay more on the private pay side.
Yeah.
Just then, it's a lot less paperwork and a lot less hassle. It's an A to B transaction.
Sure.
You know, it's a lot easier that way. So I would like to get on board with some doctors, but most doctors don't have the private pay side. You know, they go through insurance, and patients want to use those insurance.
I would think another big market would be adult children who are bringing mom home to live with them.
Absolutely.
Or dad home. You know, mom's struggling at home. You know, let's do that mother-in-law suite. Let's bring mom into the house, but the house isn't ready for mom.
Absolutely.
And
so even realtors are a good option for that.
Yeah.
You know, when houses weren't going through the roof, when people were
when there were houses,
right? Yeah. You know, make modifications to the existing house, or even, you know, we're looking at this house. What can we do to set this up so mom or dad has a safe place to successfully age with us, but they have their own space? Then they don't feel like a burden. They have their own space. Most people don't want to move in with their kids because they don't want to feel like a burden. But if you give them their own space,
heck, I'm going to really burden my kids. They know that.
If you give them their own space and you make it safe, then they're not a burden. And again, if you plan for your safety, because most people are going to experience a fall, unfortunately, in their home as they get older. If you plan for your safety and you make those modifications, you decrease the risk of falls, you decrease the risk that those falls are going to be debilitating. And again, you are less of a burden on your family. Yeah. Because all you did was just fall down and bruise your butt. You didn't fall down and break a hip.
So how do people find out about you, or find out more about what you do and contact you?
So I have a Facebook page, Modified Independence. It's just Modified at Modified Independence. I have a website. It's modified-independence.com. On there, there's 3 different tiers of price levels of modifications that I do. My contact information is on there. I have started putting videos on YouTube as well. Just simple things that people can do with the equipment that's paid for by their insurance. Just different modifications like that.
Perfect. Well, thank you for coming in and telling us about it, because, you know, now I know that when I need that grab bar, who I've got to ask about where to put it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And it's all about making a plan. Plan ahead for what you have to do to make your home safe.
Before you need it.
Before you need it. You put your seatbelt on before you start driving, not while you're in the middle of the accident.
That makes total sense. Thanks, Chris, for coming in.
Thanks, Dave.
And don't forget, you can also find out more about modified independence evaluations on iwannabuzz.com. Wow, that was fantastic. What a great show, and what interesting businesses. Don't forget, if you need any more information, you can go to iwannabuzz.com. Bye for now.